everyone. Welcome to your pathway to graduate school by Auxilium Education. I'm your host, Caitlin Anderson, and today we are going to talk about the top 5 most common reasons applications get rejected and what you can do to avoid those mistakes. So let's dive right in. Mistake number 1 is the lack of a clear personal narrative. I always tell my students that applying to graduate school is not like applying to get a job. There is a very extensive amount of information that the admissions committees are going to ask for from you, and that includes a full application form, a resume, your transcripts, your test score reports, proof of online certifications you received, professional licenses, and so you're gonna have to go through the process of providing all this information, and it all needs to come together and create this very cohesive brand. And so if you haven't done the work to create a very clear image of who you are, where you've been, where you are now, and where you want to go, it's going to be reflected in the application, and it's going to feel PC to the person reviewing your application. And so it's very important that you spend the time to build a very clear personal narrative or brand. And you can check out my video on how to build the narrative exactly to learn all the 4 components and what exactly you need to do to make sure that your personal brand is very strong. Mistake number 2, having the downside that they expect you to have. The truth is, no applicant has it all. And usually we'll fall into a couple buckets. We might go kind of right down the middle. It's a little bit more rare, but most of us will go into either more of a quantitative bucket or more of an artsy bucket, a poet bucket. And so if you fall into the quantitative bucket, the assumption is going to be that you didn't spend as much time building your soft skills or the artsy creative side of your profile as somebody who has that as a strength. And so you're gonna have to do a good job of convincing the admissions committees in your essays and your interviews that you do have those skills to negotiate well, interpersonal communication is very good, your presentation skills are top notch. So you're gonna have to do a little bit more of work on that and making sure that the admissions committee is not going to be right about their assumption that you may not have those as strengths, or they may not be at a certain level that they need to be. On the other side, if you are an arts background, then you need to do a good job of convincing the admissions committees that you can handle the quantitative aspects of the program that you're applying to. And that would be possibly taking additional mathematics courses. I can give you a personal example. I'm a Bachelor of Arts in Technical Communication, and so when I applied to get my MBA, it was important for me to show them, the admissions committee, that I could handle the quantitative courses that I would be encountering, statistics and finance and accounting. And so I went back to a community college and took 3 additional courses: college algebra, pre-calculus, and calculus 1 for scientists and engineers, not the one for business majors, to prove that, look, even though I do have a Bachelor of Arts degree, I can handle the quantitative side of this MBA that I'm applying for. And so you need to take a good look at your background and figure out where is the weakness and what is the assumption gonna be about your profile based on your strengths and what you spent most of your time doing. Mistake number 3 is not doing a good enough job of convincing the admissions committee that their school is your first choice and that you would say yes if they gave you an offer. Now, the truth that a lot of candidates don't see clearly is that these schools that you're applying to, the M7, E7, top 15 in the US, all of these top business schools are businesses. And they are looking to make a profit, and it's more profitable for them to make offers to applicants who most likely will say yes to the offer, because then that person becomes a paying customer, and that's what they're looking to do. So when you're coming to this application process, you need to do a very good job of convincing the admissions committees that that is your first choice and that if they give you an offer, you will accept. So there are many ways you can do that. I will make a separate video that goes into depth about ways that you can show that you are really committed to the school and to accepting the offer if they were to make it. Things like attending virtual events, talking to alumni, talking to current students, the student ambassadors on the website, getting students and alumni to submit endorsement forms on your behalf. There are many things you can do to show that school specifically, look, you're my top choice, and if you give me the offer, I'm saying yes to you and becoming your paying customer. Mistake number 4 is having weak letters of recommendation. This is the one chance the admissions committee has to get an outsider's perspective on you and on your work. And so it's very important that those letters that they read from your references are very strong and very positive about you. So the language needs to sound like, so-and-so is in the top 5% of analysts that I've ever supervised. I have no reservations about recommending them for your program. I think they would be an excellent addition. It needs to sound like that, very strong, because I can guarantee that all of your competition, their references are writing very powerful things about those applicants, and you cannot afford to have lukewarm letters of recommendation. The other thing I'll caution you against is that these letters can be weak if they are not 100% authentic. Now, I'll let you know that every individual has a signature in their writing, and that is composed of several elements. The way that we structure sentences, how long they are, what kinds of words we choose, how long our paragraphs are, what the flow of ideas is. Every individual thinks differently and we write differently, and that comes through. And so if you think, oh, my reference said, you know, they're too busy, they can't write my letter, so I'll just do the first draft and then they'll rewrite it, or they'll just change a few things, it's not gonna work. You're gonna get your application rejected because of that, because they have a very large sample of your writing style because of your essays. And so they will see similarities between the two pieces, and it's not gonna be good for your application. So just resist that pressure and find people who are willing to write it themselves all the way through, and that you don't have any say in how those ideas are gonna be expressed, and you're not touching those letters. And mistake number 5 is materials inconsistency. Like I was saying before, these applications are extensive. So you're gonna have to fill out this whole application form that has many different questions and sections. You have to upload your resume, you have to upload your transcript, they may even check your LinkedIn profile. And so it's very important that whatever you put in the actual application form matches your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your transcript, your test score reports. All of those things need to be perfect. You cannot have any errors, any mistakes, because your application will start to be a little bit less attractive to the admissions committee if they see that, oh, on your resume you called yourself an analyst, but then on your LinkedIn profile you're saying that you were a financial analyst, and then on your application form you're saying that you were just a business analyst. So if all these things are different, which one's true? Now it starts to raise the question of, okay, either you are not detail conscious, or you're not being completely accurate or honest with what you're saying to them. And that's gonna start to create doubt in their minds, and we don't want any doubt. Everything must reinforce everything else. So whatever you choose to call yourself in this role, business analyst, better be business analyst on your resume, better be business analyst on your LinkedIn profile. So everywhere that they're gonna get that same information. So in the application form, when you fill out the academic history section and you give your major, it better be exactly what is on your transcript. So if you were a communications major on your transcript, it just says communications. In your application form, you cannot write technical communication because they can't verify it. So it has to be exactly what is there, so that when they look, and they will look to make sure that everything's matching, there's no issue. And we want to make sure that those 7 minutes that they are reviewing our application, that everything is painting a very clear, very easy, nice, cohesive picture. So that's the 5th reason why applicants will get their applications thrown out, if there are too many mistakes or errors and they can't get to the bottom of what the truth is about things you've done and what you want to do in the future. All right, that's gonna do it for today's video. We covered the top 5 most common reasons that applicants will get rejected, which were number 1, not having a clear personal narrative. Number 2, having the downside that they expect you to have. Number 3, not doing a good enough job of convincing the admissions committee that you will say yes to an offer if they make it. Number 4, having weak letters of recommendation. And number 5, having inconsistency across your materials. The final words of advice that I will leave you with are, have a friend or a family member look through your application form and compare it against all the other materials that are going to go into your application. So check the employment history section against your resume and against your LinkedIn profile. Check the academic history section against your transcript, because the admissions committee is going to do that. So you'll catch mistakes. No matter how detail-oriented you are, we are all human and there will be mistakes. So it's good to have another pair of eyes looking at your application before you submit. Now, I want to leave you with some words of encouragement, because I know how difficult this process is. You all are going through it. You're working full-time, you're full-time students, you've got a lot on your plate already, and then you're adding this graduate application process to the mix. That is a lot. And I want to just encourage you that you can do it. Find the moments. If you need to wait a year, wait that year and do the work that you need to do on a slower pace. But you will come to the conclusion that when you go through this process, no matter if it ends in getting the offer or you decide to go another route with your career, it is going to help you build some really important critical thinking skills, some better soft skills. So it's not a waste of time, and I would encourage you to pursue it, because it is a very valid endeavor. And when you come out on the other end and you do get those wonderful offers, it's gonna be a wonderful accomplishment that people recognize. So it is worth it. Now, if you find that this process is way too complex and daunting for you to navigate, we have a very talented team at Auxilium, and we would be happy to talk with you about working on your application, going through your resume. We help with essays, interview prep, and we are experts, so we can help guide you where there's just a lot of blindness in general. So we'd be happy to talk with you. Get in touch with us. Other than that, stay tuned on this channel. We're gonna be releasing a lot of really good content on specifics of how to apply to these very prestigious graduate business schools. All right, I'll leave you there for now. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.